Madam Speaker of the Parliament Republic of Fiji, Cabinet Ministers, Members of Parliament, senior government officials, permanent secretaries, members of the Diplomatic Corps, civil servants, our development partners, faith-based organizations, civil society, NGO representatives, and of course, our wonderful school students, ladies and gentlemen. Bulavinaka, and a very good morning to all of you. It is my pleasure to be here today as the Fijian people, especially our students, come together to speak loudly and clearly on an issue that affects us all, the threat of climate change, at the launch of Fiji's first ever National Climate Change Week. We in Fiji do not need to be told about the imminent danger that our changing climate poses to our security and to our way of life we've always known. We do not need to be told because we live through the reality of climate change every day of our lives, and we witness its devastation firsthand. We lived through the strongest cyclone to ever strike in our hemisphere, Cyclone Winston. We watched homes, roads, and schools being completely wiped away, and it was right here in Albert Park that we held a ceremony of remembrance for those Fijians we lost to that cyclone. All across our beloved Fiji, communities are watching land we've called home for generations be washed away by the rising seas. And our farmers are watching their crops wither and die as seawater encroaches their land and spoils their soil. So I know that we don't need to spend this time this morning speaking about the scale of the threat we face. We all know that our future is at risk. We all know what is at stake. And we all know that action, bold and decisive action, needs to be taken to avert this climate action and this, of course, climate crisis. As our Honourable Prime Minister has said before, the world looks to us as Fijians, as Pacific Islanders, and as climate vulnerable people to be the fiercest defenders of this planet's future. It falls to us, those who live on the front lines of climate change, to jolt the industrialized world into action and make decisive cuts in harmful carbon emissions. That is why our Honourable Prime Minister has taken up the enormous responsibility of leading the global negotiations on climate change as President of COP23, to stave off disaster for our planet, to address the root causes of this threat, and to give us all a fighting chance at adapting to the climate impacts already upon us. This week is our chance to come together as one nation, as one people, to rally behind our Prime Minister as he goes to the world and seeks to secure our future and the future of every global citizen. Because he's leading this campaign for all of our sakes, and it is our stories and our struggles that he takes with him to inspire action on the part of the industrialized world. Right now, he is in New York, speaking directly to world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly on the importance of this issue as part of his work to build a grand coalition for climate action that he will lead to Bonn, Germany this November at COP23. He is bringing bold and consequential leadership to address this challenge and reduce the harmful emissions that are causing climate change. But he cannot do it alone. He needs our help, he needs our support, and he needs our prayers. That is what this National Climate Change Week is all about. And that begins today with a national weekend of prayer for our COP presidency, as our churches, our mosques, our temples prepare messages on climate change in support of the vital mission Fiji has undertaken as COP23 president. This is our opportunity to seek spiritual guidance, comfort, and conviction as we seek global climate action. Because given the importance of the responsibility the world has entrusted to Fiji, we cannot afford to fall short. My fellow Fijians, Fiji did not cause the crisis of climate change. That's no big secret. Our own contributions to the greenhouse gas emissions warming our atmosphere are negligible. It is the industrialized world that bears the responsibility for this crisis. And unfortunately, it is we in the Pacific who are suffering the most dearly. That is why Fiji is leading such a monumental international effort to call for decisive cuts in global carbon emissions. But here at home, we can still do our part as well. We can show the world that it is possible to develop our country without costing us our future. And here in Fiji, we can live out the same expectations we are asking from developed nations. This National Climate Change Week is our opportunity not only to tell our story and not only to show the world how we are impacted by climate change, it is our chance to show that we, as Fijians, hold a deep affinity for the natural world and a profound appreciation for the health of our environment. To show that we are people defined by our connection to the world that surrounds us. To show that our environment is a source of livelihood for many of our people and that it serves as a bridge that connects us to our heritage and to the many cultures that make up our society. We need to do what we can to protect our environment from harm, and we need to take serious measures to protect ourselves and the progress we've made for Fiji from the devastation of climate change. That is why we've chosen the theme, Accelerating Climate Action for a Resilient Fiji, for this climate change week. I'm very glad to see many of our young people here today. So much of the work our Honourable Prime Minister is carrying out is to leave behind a better Fiji for you all, to inherit, so that you and one day your own children can enjoy the same Fiji we are so proud to call home. You may all be young, but you can still be very powerful forces for change, and the sort of changes that every society will have to make to lessen their carbon footprints in the years to come will need to be driven by our young people. So I encourage all of you to be very vocal on this issue, be warriors against climate change, and help us build a cleaner and more resilient Fiji. The next 9 days will be filled with activities being organized by government agencies, schools, business houses, faith-based organizations, academic institutions, and NGOs in all 4 divisions around the country. Today, we mark the official launch of the National Climate Change Week here in the Central Division. Tomorrow, there will be similar events in Lautoka, Lambasa, and Levuka, the details of which can be found in the dailies in the newspapers. Monday through Friday of the upcoming week will each carry their own theme with activities organized at the divisional level. Monday will be dedicated to preserving the environment and forestry. Tuesday will be dedicated to climate mitigation and private sector engagement. Wednesday will be dedicated to water, coastal protection, and traditional knowledge. Thursday will be dedicated to agriculture, food security, and fisheries. And Friday will be dedicated to climate education. The week's closing event will be on Saturday, 30th of September, with another Mass through Suva City, culminating back here in Albert Park, where our Honourable Prime Minister will deliver the closing address. We have a wide range of activities in store during the week itself, from mangrove planting, clean-up campaigns, and recycling activities, to competitions, seminars, and carbon fasts. The full list of events and activities will be published in the newspapers, and I encourage every Fijian to take part and get involved on this very important issue. Commit to climate action, and together we can support the work of our Honourable Prime Minister and contribute to this important global effort. I would like to acknowledge everyone present here today, especially those that took part in the climate march this morning. Thank you for your enthusiasm, your interest, and your passion. Climate change is one of the greatest challenges facing our world today. I hope that National Climate Change Week gives every Fijian the chance to better understand climate issues and be inspired to become climate champions in their everyday life. With that, it is now my sincere pleasure to declare the National Climate Change Week officially open. And thank you, and I wish you all a good day. Thank you.